Welcome back. Today in our Sunday Spotlight, sometimes you can make a point without speaking a word, and that's what Bob Englehart has been doing for decades. His editorial cartoons certainly spark conversations on the topics of the times. Once published in the Hartford Courant, you can now find them on Patreon. You can also see a number of them on display at the Westport Library and a new exhibit entitled Cartoon County. County, am I right, Bob?
County.
Okay, good. Cartoon County, the golden age of cartooning in Connecticut. Bob Englehart joins me in Studio A. I prepared for this, and I had country in my head the whole time. That's why I caught myself. Bob Englehart is here. Thank you so much for being with us. Tell me about these cartoons, because so many of our viewers have been chuckling along with your cartoons or thinking about your cartoons for years. How do you come up with these ideas, and when do you say, aha, that's one I'm going to draw?
Well, at this point in my life, it's like my brain is warped into. I think in terms of cartoons all the time. I'm thinking of a cartoon right now, but we'll talk about that later. But it comes from anger and rage. I read the newspaper. Well, I still read the newspaper. I read it online now, and I'm upset. I'm angered. I've got to say something, and if I don't say it, who will, right? So many times I come up with cartoon ideas that I think, oh, certainly a cartoonist has come up with this before, but it's so obvious, but it's only obvious to me. It's not obvious to anybody else. So it's a gift.
And it's a gift that our viewers have been able to enjoy for, you did 35 years at the Current.
Yeah.
Now you can go and subscribe and get delivered your cartoons, which is very cool.
Yes.
You went to the American Academy of Art in Chicago,
right,
and then made this your career. Was that always your goal, or did you fall into being a cartoonist?
I wanted to be Norman Rockwell, and I was just fascinated by his work and the school of that he had established. But when I went to art school, I found out that the guy that does the illustrations for the Coca-Cola Santa Claus, he was starving to death in the South Side because the camera had taken over advertising. There was no market for illustrations anymore. And I thought, man, if he can't make a living at it, I certainly can. So that's when I thought, I think I'll be a cartoonist. And I started doing cartoons, and the school didn't have a cartoon course. So I had my teacher make up one for me.
Cool.
And I started doing greeting cards and freelancing, and made enough money to buy a house and thought, oh, maybe I can make it as a cartoonist.
Well, you certainly have. I know we have some of your cartoons that we want to show as we continue to talk, but I'm always fascinated because my brain is not wired artistically. I don't think the way that you described it. You had a warped mind.
I feel the same way about musicians. Musicians can sit down and play the piano. How do they do that? I don't know. How do you make this hand do one thing, this hand do another thing?
But
I don't understand.
I wonder with how your brain is wired, as you draw these cartoons, and we're looking at some of them now, do you have an expectation for what you want the end user to get out of it? Are you thinking that when I look at it on my phone or it printed in a newspaper somewhere, you want me to have a certain reaction?
Well, I do, but I don't know who's looking at my cartoons, and I don't know who they are, and so I really just try to please myself. If I can make, when I get that first idea, that first germ of an idea, and it makes me laugh, because from now on it's work. Now I got to render it, but it just makes me laugh, and I think I'm not the only one who's going to laugh. Other people will laugh too. So. What
makes for a good cartoon topic?
Oh, just about anything. Anything that can. A lot of distasteful things, I'm sure. I used to get in trouble a lot at the Current because of the taste of my cartoons. They taste good to me, so what can I do?
We'll look at some more of them as we continue to talk. But do you think that there's topics? A lot of times I hear comedians say anything can be funny.
Yeah.
You could make cancer funny if you present it the right way.
Right.
Are there any topics that are off limits in cartoons?
I can't think of any. It depends on the audience.
Sure.
And you're really playing to your audience. If you got an audience of a bunch of crazy weirdos, then you can do some crazy weirdo cartoons. If you have an audience of a bunch of staid businessmen, well, then you got to do a different kind of New Yorker cartoon, right?
Now tell me about this exhibit down at the Westport Library. I know this coming Tuesday, September the 10th, 6 to 8 is the reception. Then after that, people can head down there and see your works.
Yes.
Are you excited about this?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be with a bunch of great cartoonists. There's two sections to this exhibit. There's the cartoonists of the past, and the cartoons of today. And the cartoons today are the Walker brothers who do Beetle Bailey, but I shouldn't start naming them because they're all friends. If I leave somebody out, I'm going to upset them. But I'm with some great cartoonists whose work I admire and I'm influenced by. I'm still influenced by other cartoonists. So I'm very excited about this.
And it's a good opportunity for people to see not just your work, but other people's work and see how we got to this place where a simple picture with maybe a few lines of text can have a big meaning on other people.
And a simple picture with no lines. I mean, that's the purest cartoon, one with no words. You don't have to know English to read this cartoon. It's just funny, a funny drawing.
Well, listen, I am glad that we were able to have you on the show. I hope a lot of people get down to the Westport Library and check out your cartoons. And, of course, we're going to tell them right now how to subscribe if they want to get a regular feed. Bob Englehart, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
All right, so if you'd like to see Bob's work in person, here's how you do it. Head to the Westport Library. It's on display now through December 10th. An opening reception is held on Tuesday, as I said, from 6 to 8. To see Bob's work, you can also subscribe to his Patreon page. It's patreon.com/Englehart. You can get all the info you need there, and it is all, of course, on your screen. That is CT24 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll meet you back here in Studio A next Sunday morning.